It's Cricbuzz Chatter. Adam Collins and Michael Vaughan here at Old Trafford after another absorbing day of Test cricket. Well, absorbing for the brutality, really. England making 592. Johnny Bairstow, 99 not out. James Anderson, the last man to go after a 66-run stand for the 10th wicket in just 40 balls. It was classic Bazball stuff. They went to work with the ball as well. They've picked up 4 Australian wickets in the second innings. Australia under the pump, still 163 away from making England bat a second time. Vaughanie, you've just been chatting with Johnny Bairstow. He's in punchy form.
He's Johnny Bairstow. He's got the bit between his teeth. He's always dangerous when he's got a point to prove. But full credit to the selectors for sticking with him. I reckon that catch of Mitchell Marsh, that really good grab gave him confidence. I always look at wicketkeeping and I think, how is it to keep? And say you've dropped a couple and then you have to bat knowing that you owe the team 50 or 60 before you've actually faced the ball. So the mentality side of a keeping job is always amazing for me. They're strong, they're tough. Johnny Bairstow at his best today. Some of those strokes, some of them sixes were absolutely monsters. But the question, it's always like when England bat so long and with the rain forecast at the weekend, Edgbaston were going, oh, why did he declare? And today you think, oh, did England bat too long? Yeah. The proof will be in the pundit at the end of the Test match. But I don't think you can play any better than England have played this week. I think they've played absolutely magnificent in every facet, from bowling on the first day to batting with great control, scoring quickly, but it was controlled aggression. And then today with the ball in hand to get those 4 wickets on a road, that's doing nothing. That pitch now, it's flat. This England side have the Aussies on the ropes. You watch a lot of Australian cricket and lots of Australian cricket over the decades. I don't remember seeing an Australian side struggle with the short ball as much as this team. Yeah. And that's been the course of the last, if you go back the last 5 innings, the high score's been 317. And whatever happens here, this England side have worked a method of how to bowl Australia out quite cheaply on any surface. Some of these pitches are good, they're true. This one's a beauty, it's flat. And yet England have managed to get them out for 317 and now have gotten 4 down for just over 100 on a really good pitch. So England have worked a method. They've got different kind of angles. This pace of Woods certainly unsettled Australia. The skill of Wokes, Stuart Broad setting the tone at the top. They've got a little bit of tweak with Moeen Ali. He wasn't at his best today, but the attackers around attack with different combinations have certainly unsettled this Australian batting lineup. And I know what will happen in the morning at 6 a.m. Pat Cummins will wake up. The first thing he does is that. He'll be looking out the curtains to make sure that those clouds which are forecast have arrived, because it's looked to me that this week Australia, and they might deny this, they have looked to me like a side that has purely played for the weather to arrive at the weekend. They haven't played an aggressive game. They've not played a game that's tried to get on the front foot. England have got nothing to lose, and you know that they can play that method. It's very, very dangerous. But when you play against that method, you can't just sit back and play so timidly. You've almost got to try and punch back. And maybe England have been too good and Australia found it difficult to punch back. But, it looks to me that the mindset of Australia this week has been purely about hoping that the weather arrives at the weekend.
Yeah, it's a great point about them all playing their role as well. Even Jimmy Anderson, right? So
this England side are a team that you just want to play in the team. You'd love to be in that dressing room just to find out what it's like in there. They play with a huge amount of joy. They play with a huge amount of expression of aggression. But even though they've scored at their quickest rate for a long, long time, I actually thought Bazball wasn't as Bazball-y as previous innings. They played very sensibly. Once the field has been spread, they've just knocked it. I don't know, you probably know the stats. I don't know how many times cover point on the boundary touched the ball for Australia. It seemed to be one ball at least and over where the ball was flying out to the boundary or square leg on the boundary. England have played a way that they know the field has been spread. Yes, they're going to hit the ball when it's there to hit. They've got amazing mavericks in the side that can strike a cricket ball. But I've been really impressed with the rotation of strike. They've utilised these big gaps in the field, have knocked it into the space and said to Pat Cummins, all right, you're spreading the field, we're going to play Tuffers, Phil Tufnell, the one that was, when he was in Australia, I think Ian Healy said to him, oh, come on, Tuffers, I'm building an idiot, can I borrow your brain? He said, this is Bazball with brains. And if Phil Tufnell's saying that, and England have started to play with a few brains, I think they must take note.
It felt like Cummins was 23 overs he bowled. He went for nearly 130 or something like that. He's never had a day quite like that as a bowler in Test cricket. A lot of scrutiny overnight. You know what it's like when you're in Australia and you're under the pump as the touring side in an Ashes series. That's coming Cummins' way now, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And rightfully so. You're the captain of a an Australian side in a big series, you're 2-1 up, and his team have just not delivered this week. It's just the nature of the beast. That's your role, unfortunately, as a captain, that you have to cop a bit. The 3 quicks to go over 125 runs. I've never seen Australia look such a timid team. I've never seen Australia, when the second new ball's due, wait 10 overs to take it when they had to get wickets. They had to take that second new ball and say to England, right, we're looking to bowl you out.
But they weren't trying to get Bairstow out, were they? I mean, it looked like they were playing the milk to strike game, but Bairstow wasn't playing. He was giving a straight to Stuart Broad. He was letting Anderson face the first ball and over when hitting a boundary. It's like the Cummins was trying to do one thing and Bairstow wasn't letting him get into any sort of groove.
Yeah, and this is what I say about Bazball with a few brains, and that's what England are playing. They're just playing the sensible game when they need to, and they can be really expansive when they have to. So, it's been very unlike Australia. I've seen Australia, and they're a good team. This is the number 1 team in the world, and for whatever reason, they've gone into this kind of shell of a mentality. I kind of put it as, if you're too down at golf, you're playing against the aggressive. This is what England are. Yeah. They've got nothing to lose. They're going to keep coming at you. And when you've got this juggernaut of mentality that almost gives off the impression that they don't care about losing, it's very, very difficult. I'm sure they do, but that's the impression that they give. It's like full throttle, we're coming at you. It's not easy to play against, and Australia, they may get lucky. I actually think throughout the whole series, Australia haven't been fortunate with the conditions. They've lost every toss. Every time they've batted, the lights have seemed to be on. Not here today, but throughout the Edgbaston, Lords, a bit of Headingley, you've always felt that Australia have had to bat in the tougher conditions. Have they earned the right for 2 days of Manchester weather? I don't think they've got that much in the bank, but we'll have to wait and see. Yeah,
all the body language as well. You could see how happy they are for Bairstow and Stokes running down the stairs. I mean, it felt like today was a day when England really believe they can do this thing. All right, let's go into the hot spot. In the hot spot, a man that you and I both like, David Warner. So I'm not going to take the machine gun out or anything here, but he's getting starts. He's not going on with it. Yeah. If Australia don't win here and it's 2-2 going to the Oval, will they revisit that conversation?
No. I think he's actually played all right here. But when you get in the 20s and 30s and 40s and you're getting out, the question is always asked of a player that's already said when he's going to retire, has he lost that spark? Has he lost that edge, that real concentration that you require to bat for 4, 5, 6 hours at a time? He'll say, absolutely not. I've still got that edge. But when you're getting in and getting out so consistently, there is that sharpness that you lose. I'm not going back to when I retired in 2009, but I do remember throughout my career that every time I said I was going to do something in the future, you forget about the present. You forget about that moment. And Warner's I actually think here at Old Trafford he's moved better than I've seen him for a long period. In this innings I thought he was moving at the crease brilliantly. He was batting outside of his crease, he was going at the ball, he played some really nice shots, he was playing the ball late. I actually did a segment on the telly where I was saying all this and he was out next ball, so David Warner should blame me because I put the curse on him. But no, he'll play at the Oval. I don't see how you're going to bring in Marcus Harris at this stage of the Ashes. I don't think he's that far away, but he's got to be really sharp in his mind to concentrate for longer periods.
All right, before we go, let's press. How many sessions realistically do you think it's going to need on Sunday maybe to make this work for England?
Yeah, I would say England need 45 overs. I think they need around 45. One thing I can tell you is that when rain is forecast in Manchester, it generally rains. It's not one of those parts of the world where they forecast rain and suddenly the sun shines and it misses. There will be rain. England will be like that. Pat will be looking out of his curtains tomorrow and sunny to hope it is raining. England don't deserve to be rained off for 2 days. They've played brilliant cricket. You can't play any better than the way England have played this week. The series needs it to be 2-2. We need to go to the Oval 2-2 with everything to play for. Australia will hope it does rain, but I'm sure we'll get some cricket. How much, we'll have to wait and see, and then that debate will come at the end of the game potentially. Did Ben bat too long on day 3? We'll have to wait and see. But one thing I can guarantee, and I hate to say it will rain at some stage. It's Manchester.
Michael Vaughan, Adam Collins. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully they'll get some play on because you're spot on. England deserve to win this Test match.